Hello and welcome to the Celebration Space. My name is Kaylee Phelps and today we are talking about preparing to travel. So this is something very topical in my life right now. I am leaving, Tyler and I are leaving on Sunday to drive from Atlanta, Georgia to Grand Rapids, Michigan for my dad's birthday is on Monday. So we originally had a really big 60th birthday celebration planned where we were going to go out west and do some really cool, fun things. And obviously, life has changed, the world has changed, and we are going to make the best of it. We are going to be driving, so that's something I'm going to be factoring into this video. Most times we actually fly, so just because we do, our apartment complex is right next to MARTA, which I think is the Metro Atlanta Rapid Transit Authority. I'll fact check myself, but it's basically the train that goes from, we are the very north stop, the airport's very south stop, so normally if we're flying we'll go there and then we'll fly up, but because this is being filmed in August 2020 during the global health crisis, we are not comfortable flying right now, so we are going to be driving the full 12 hours on Sunday. And I just wanted to walk through some of the things I do to organize myself, organize my home, and get prepared to travel to make it as stress-free as possible, easy on. Normally when we drive up, we will bring Dolly with us. I jokingly call her a cross-country cat because she has come up with us, especially around the holidays when we normally don't have friends around to watch her. Since we got Millie in May, we are hoping that they will be little buddies, and we have our dear friends Mike and Kendra who have watched Dolly before. They know the system, so they're going to be coming, and Tyler and I are just going to be flying solo. But I will dive right in. I'm sitting at my desk this morning, so we'll get down to business. And I'm going to start by talking in the three sections of how I prepare. So one of them is environment, then the home bodies. So in this case, that'll be Dolly and Millie. Maybe you have some family members that normally stay home or some kids that stay home, so we'll adjust that. And then travelers, yourself, the people who are actually traveling. So environment's going to start with food. If you watch my video on Monday where I talked about how I plan my week, I am a meal planner, but I would say a novice meal planner. So really it's just trying to make sure that I have the right amount of food, I have a plan for cooking, and I'm not wasting anything. So Tyler and I were looking yesterday. We are feeling pretty good about, we're gonna be eating like kings today and tomorrow, just going through all of our fresh food since we like to have a lot of fresh stuff on hand. But that is just one side of the coin. I also want y'all to know that a lot of this preparation is actually for present Kaylee to prepare for future Kaylee upon her return. So another thing that I make sure that I do is that I have some frozen meals or put some bread in the freezer or have some things, because knowing that we're gonna get back, we're leaving really early this Sunday and we're gonna get home really late the following Sunday, knowing that I probably will get to the grocery store at the earliest on Monday afternoon, maybe Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon. So just making sure that we have some food items on hand that we can have rather than having to order food in and like be starving when we get home. So making sure that we have that all prepared. So that all started really last Sunday with meal prep, and we're really going through that right now. Cleaning, that also started last weekend. So I did a really big clean, I'll say like a semi-deep clean last weekend, where rather than just a surface clean that I'm gonna do this weekend where I'm just gonna dust, wipe down counters, and vacuum, I mopped last weekend. I did the showers and I like wiped out all of the sinks and did all of that stuff. So last weekend was more of a big clean. If we were bringing the cats with us, I might do a bigger clean this weekend, just because then it's like preserved in time until we come back. But knowing that they're gonna be here, we're definitely going to have the AC still running too. We'll probably keep it up to 78, which I'll get to in a minute, but we're gonna have dust accumulating. We're gonna have cat hair everywhere. We're gonna have cat litter everywhere. We're gonna have Mike and Kendra are gonna be coming in and out. So it's not, to me, as big of a deal to like do a really big deep clean this weekend. Something that is important to me though is getting our laundry caught up. So on Saturday morning I will catch up our laundry for all of the things that we want to pack, and then I probably will do a load of linen, so doing our towels and our sheets, just so that when we get back, they aren't something that kind of freaks me out once I learned more about cleaning your sheets, is that your sweat and all that stuff, it's actually good to let it air out a little bit before you make the bed, and so letting it air out and then making the bed, that's no problem for me, because normally Dolly is still snuggled into bed. She still is right now. I'm gonna make the bed after this video, but that's one of those things that I want to make sure that we're coming home to clean linen, so that is something that I'm going to be doing. I have some notes over here just because I do have like a little checklist for myself, so that'll be going on the blog. So yeah, I think it's about if you have anyone staying in your home and what your personal comfortability is, and also how long you're going to be traveling. So that's also with the foods, things to have considered this whole time if you have family members that are going to be staying at home, obviously making sure they have the food that they need, or if you're going to be gone, you know, for 2 weeks or a month, making sure that you really have your fridge cleaned out so that you don't have anything, you know, smelling or growing in your fridge for when you return. So, the ins and outs. So, in is going to be mail. So I'm gonna go out and make sure that I have the mail on Saturday, make sure that we have everything all set. And then the outs are trash and recycling. So I usually start consolidating everything. Our recycling is already kind of consolidated, and we'll take that out on Saturday, probably more towards the evening. Same with the trash, just making sure that we are starting, there's not gonna be any food or anything that could be smelly when we get back. Of course, there's gonna be probably some wet canned food like scenarios where Mike and Kendra are gonna be giving those to the girls and like throwing those out. I want it just to be nice and easy for them, and there to be, you know, kind of minimize the amount of smells that we might come home to. And then the utilities, I kind of mentioned it earlier. During the winter, since we are in an apartment complex, we're on the 2nd floor, I usually don't worry so much about the heat if nobody's gonna be here. So we've actually turned off the heat before and shut our vents just to kind of mitigate some of the dust while all of us have been gone with Dolly. But since the girls are staying here, we're gonna have it at 78. We keep all the vents open. If you're gonna have your AC or your heat running, it's good to have all of the vents open just to, you know, continue that airflow. So I'm going to do that, but I am going to clog the drains in our bathrooms, in our tubs and the shower in our bathroom, just because it's Georgia and there's sometimes some creepy crawlies that might want to come up through the drains if they are not being used as much. I'll keep all of the sink drains open just because Mike and Kendra will be coming through and probably going to the bathroom using the sinks, but just those items that I know that probably aren't going to be used, I'm going to clog those up, and then I'm also going to pull some of the electrical sockets that I know we're not going to be using. For example, there is this laptop or this desktop computer that we have in our little office space, so we're not going to be using that. We can unplug that. Different lamps or different things that I know like are rarely used anyway. Your electronics actually still pull electricity even if they are off, so especially when we're gone and I know that we're not using anything or we're turning on a light here and there, I will unplug those things just to try to keep our electric bill down while we are gone. So that is it for the environment, unless I remember anything a little bit later in this video, but that's really just making sure that your home is where you want it to be for when you're leaving, for the people that are going to be there, and also when you're going to be coming back, how you want your home to feel when you get back. So the home bodies, for us, that's Dolly and Millie, making sure that they are all stocked up. So whether that's food that they need, whether that's for us, it's cat food and cat litter, and just making sure that they have all of that stuff readily available. And so then for their routine, I normally like to write a little note to whoever is watching Dolly from Dolly's perspective, kind of as a joke and also just to be nerdy. But so I'll probably write out their routine for them from their little perspective and have little paw prints. And they have stayed here with Dolly a couple of times. And so we will make sure that we are preparing them for their routine. It's just a little bit different having Millie here, so it won't be very jarring, but it should be pretty nice and easy. And then we will make sure that we leave out our key fob for them. We have a gate at the front of our complex, so the first time that they come to visit, they're gonna have to call to get through the visitor's gate, and then we'll leave out one of our fobs so that they can come and go really easily. And then rearrange. So it's stock up routine and rearrange. So especially with Millie, Dolly is so calm and so sweet. She really doesn't get into anything. So what we're gonna have to do with Millie is actually put away some of the things that she likes to mess with. So she likes to mess with the Q-tips on the counter, and like she's pulled those everywhere. She sometimes likes to pull the placemats off the dining room table. And since we're not gonna be here to discipline her with the spray bottle, I'm just gonna mitigate that risk and just make sure that it's all taken care of. Any kind of like hanging items, I'm gonna make sure that she's not gonna be, you know, in a dangerous situation while we're gone. So yeah, just kind of putting things away that they could mess with, or just like, I mean, making sure that anything that while you're gone that they might be able to, you know, get into is taken care of. And then I'm gonna put out more toys than I normally do. So that whole basket of toys, if you saw my repurposed items video or organizing your pets video, I'm gonna actually spread all of the toys out on the floor just so that they have them out and they can kind of take care of their energy that way, and not have to go in and out of the basket. Although they normally do, they'll get out their own toys. It's just gonna be good for them to have that out and about already. And also, I will let Mike and Kendra know so that they don't end up stepping on, you know, anything that feels like a Lego when they're coming home, although the cats don't play with Legos. But yeah, so that's really what I do for the homebodies. I'm sure if you have children, they have their own routine, especially if they're younger. You might want to write it out for whoever is staying with them. They're probably staying overnight or they're going somewhere else. So making sure that you have everything prepared for them and their normal routine obviously is something that you probably already have a handle on as a parent. I know that for me as a nanny, I always really appreciated having something that was like typed out about when normal nap times were, what favorite toys were, if there's anything, you know, any normal pajamas, even setting out pajamas or having outfits laid out. I know that most of us are home more now, so it's not as big of a deal, you know, having those outfits figured out for school or for going out and about. But just having some of those favorites or having some of those items is helpful just to make it as easy as possible on whoever your homebodies are, and then also on whoever is going to be watching or taking care of those people. So then for the travelers, obviously packing. So that's kind of the big obvious one. I usually break that down into travel items for us, that's going to be the car. So making sure that we have a little snack bag packed, napkins, ample napkins, which I normally have in the car, but maybe I'll take some more out there. Hand sanitizer in the car. I'll put one spray on each side so that as we're getting in and out of the car, we have hand sanitizer, extra masks just so that we have them on hand. And I always have my car charger, but making sure that if we're taking Tyler's car that I have my car charger as well, and if we're in my car that we have his car charger, and then also having a trash bag just for items that we want to throw away while we're on the road. Going into clothes, which is the big obvious one, but I always make sure, so little sidebar, one time I got stuck, my car broke down in Lake City, Florida. And I got stuck in a hotel for 3 days while they were working on my car because they had to order in a part and do all of these things. And what I learned, luckily, I always pack extra underwear, but just always pack extra underwear is what I'm going to say from that experience. Make sure you always pack a book. Make sure normally I'll travel with my laptop. Make sure that you just have some of your things just in case. That experience really has made me think about when I'm packing. So just so you'll know, it can happen. Just always be prepared, specifically with your undergarments. You don't want to get caught in a bind. So then I normally plan my outfits by shoe color, which might sound a little bit weird, but normally I'll bring like, it's not as big of a deal in the summer because I have very small feet, and like sandals are pretty easy to pack. But normally I'll have like a white pair of sandals and a black pair of sandals, and then just kind of pack outfits that I don't need to pack any kind of other shoes. That also makes it easy on earrings or any kind of other things. If I've had times where I'm like, I'm just gonna wear all black dominant outfits so that I only have to pack one pair of shoes, and then all of my outfits kind of go together, and I have 2 pairs of earrings. So that's something that's really helpful for me. I also try to pursue the pantsless lifestyle, especially while I'm traveling. So wearing a lot of dresses and rompers and things where you can pack one item and then have jackets. So I'm actually wearing one of my favorite travel outfits. I'll show y'all just so that you can see the full view. But it's a long dress all the way down to my feet. And it's very free flowing, it's very easy, it's like kind of a wick material, and so it's nice if you're sitting on a plane, you don't have, pants going into your stomach, and you have, also if you're wearing shorts, or if you've ever worn shorts in like an itchy seat, like it covers all of my legs so it goes down to the floor. So I have my outfits that I have that are pretty tried and true that I always travel in. So if you see me post on social media on Sunday and I'm wearing this same travel outfit, I wouldn't be surprised. Please don't judge me. I also always bring a jean jacket, and if I'm wearing black, I have like a leather jacket or different things, just because I do know that living in the South, my blood has thinned out, and I can just run cold anyway. So I always make sure that I pack in layers. Same goes for pajamas. So going into pajamas, going off of the underwear comment, I would make sure that you have an extra set of pajamas, and then also having pajamas for if it's a little bit chillier in the place that you are. If you're in a hotel, you can normally control that, but just having kind of a colder pair of pajamas and then a warmer pair of pajamas, and then you can kind of mix and match them, I think is really important. And then just making sure that if you are, any purpose items. So by purpose items, I mean, are you traveling internationally? Make sure you have your passport. Think about what's the purpose of your trip. For me, it's the purpose of my trip is to go home for my dad's birthday. Make sure that you have your card and presents in the car. Like, don't forget the thing that you need. If you're going on a trip where you're going to the Caribbean, I want to get some sun. Do I have my sunscreen? So I feel like sometimes the most obvious things for the purpose for our trip is sometimes get lost in the shuffle of packing for yourself or preparing for your home or doing other things. So I just always think about like, okay, what's the purpose of my trip, and making sure that I have those purposeful items so that I don't forget them. And that's like the reason I'm going on my trip, is to get some sun, and then I forgot sunscreen. And most things, I mean, there is a comfort to going home. There's a comfort to traveling domestically and usually internationally, where you can replace most items if you forget a razor or if you forget a brush. But I think that it's just normally good to make sure that you think about what you have going on and try to think about what you'll need in those situations. So, toiletries, I usually pack the day before, so I'll pack my toiletries tomorrow morning. I actually have, so this is my toiletry bag, which looks kind of ridiculous, but I've had it for a long time, and this is the big bag this is the smaller bag within it. So I'll put like bigger things, like speaking of sunscreen or lotions or my razor or a bigger brush or different things, so that it's all in the same space. Tyler normally will like pack his stuff in here with me if we're traveling together. And then this smaller bag will hold my earrings in one of the pockets, some of my smaller makeup items, just smaller things. But this black bag will start to live on the bathroom counter tomorrow morning, so that after I use an item, I'll just stick it into this bag. And then throughout the day, if I notice like, oh, I forgot that, or like, oh, I'm using this, like, oh, I'm using my deodorant this morning, make sure that after I use it, I put it into the toiletry bag. Oh, I'm using this lotion. Oh, I'm using this item. And it's a lot easier for us because we're driving rather than flying this time around. But I think that that's just like kind of a good rule of thumb, I always shower the day before too, so that kind of helps guide some of my toiletries, so that I remember a razor, so that I remember some of those things, just so that I'm clean for the following day when we leave super early, and also to help me pack those toiletries. And then your carry-on. So even though, so I'll show y'all, I have this, so this is my carry-on bag. It's really flat right now. It literally has a front pocket and then no pockets at all. So if you saw how I organize my items on the go, you have seen this purse, or you've seen it on my social media. I'm gonna take everything from this purse and put it into that bag. So if you've read the blog or you've seen the video, I talk about how to organize in a bag that's like not structured at all or doesn't have pockets. So I'm gonna use all of those same tactics in this bag. The reason I use this bag is because I'm also gonna put my laptop in it, and I'm also gonna put my laptop charger in it, and I'm gonna put my journals in it that I use to organize my headspace, and some other items that I need and I want nearby. So I call it my carry-on, even though we're driving. It's something that I want to have nearby me at all times. So if I need, I keep an extra mask in there, I keep some hand sanitizer in there, I keep my chapstick in there, everything that I want to have nearby while I'm on the go, I will move from that bag to this bag. And it actually matches the carry-on bag that I've had. I've had this set for probably close to 6 years, and so this is just my roller bag. I always put my dirty clothes in this front pocket, so that normally my dirty underwear in this front pocket, and then any dirty like bigger clothes items in here. So I have my own system for that. But yeah, so I always know I have my 2 houndstooth bags. I have my routine with it. I have my toiletry bag that I normally have with it, and so that helps me out quite a bit. And then I think that's pretty much, yeah. So the last prep things I'm gonna say is your calendar. So you know that you have PTO coming up, paid time off if you're working in an office setting. Your boss might know that they approved it, but they might not know your schedule by heart. So making sure that if you have weekly meetings, weekly one-on-ones at work, any kind of meeting that you typically attend, whether it's like a big team meeting or anything like that, just making sure that the week before you remind everyone that you're gonna be gone, and also you hit will not attend and clear out your work calendar. I would say the same if you go to the chiropractor every week, or you have a standing appointment with someone where you go walking or you do different things. Making sure that your entire calendar, anything that is reliant on you, for my example, for next week, otherwise, if you're gone for 2 weeks, if you're gone for 3 days, anything, your schedule is cleared for those 3 days, and everyone that would typically rely on you knows that you are out of pocket. So if you are working full time and you work with a lot of clients, I would make sure that you have a backup contact, where someone you can put in your out of office message up that you are going to be gone. I normally like to say I'm out of the office, I will return this day. I know some people that have put up out of office messages and it's like July 4th and holiday, and it'll say like, I'm out of the office for the holiday season. I will return on January 2nd. And so they don't update those time frames. So I would just make sure that you look in, you update those time frames. If you get a lot of phone calls, or if you have a specific office line, you can even like redo your voicemail and just say, hey, I'm out of the office these dates, I will be back this date. But remember to set an alarm or set a reminder for the day that you get back to remove that voicemail message and get back to it. I made the mistake one time of setting my voicemail message, and then all of a sudden I remembered a couple days after I got back, and I was like, ooh, I should make sure that I update that so that people know, of course I'm back in the office, but I still have this voicemail up. So I would make sure that your calendar is cleared, and then also for the week that you get back, always thinking about future Kaylee and future you. rather than front stacking your week kind of with your meals, make sure that you are either mid stacking or towards the end. Like don't schedule a really big meeting and like try to keep your Monday morning, if you're getting back late on a Sunday night, or if you're getting back on a Monday night, your Tuesday morning, whatever it is, make sure that you kind of preserve some space to go through your email, to play some catch up, to drink some coffee. You're gonna have some, not only email catch up, but if you're going into an office environment or you're working remotely and maybe you have a lot of chats, people asking, how was your trip? Like, send me pictures. So just kind of factoring that in, that you might have like a slow ramp up, and scheduling your week accordingly so that you are not hit by the bricks when you get back to the office or get back to your normal routine. And then also your transportation. So for us, in addition to packing for the car and packing for ourselves and preparing, I normally will make sure that we have gas, especially during the global health crisis. We're gonna try to stop as few times as possible. So we're gonna get gas at a gas station here in Atlanta, make sure, especially as we're leaving really early in the morning and a lot of gas stations are understaffed, so they might not be open as much, in that 24-hour view. So making sure that we have gas, shaking out any rugs. I don't think that you need to like vacuum your car or, take it to the car wash when you're gonna be driving it across the country, because it's kind of like doing a full clean before your cats are going to be running around your house for a whole week. Like, it's going to get messy. So like, I think doing just some minor things to make yourself comfortable, but you don't need to go all out for that, knowing that it's just going to get a little bit dirty while it's in use. And then also making sure that you have things timed out. So if we were going to the airport and we're taking MARTA, we're taking the train, I would look up and see, okay, these are the train times. This is when our plane boards. If I'm carrying on, this might be controversial to say, but I've traveled so much throughout my career and throughout my personal life that if I am carrying on, I'm not packing any luggage. The flight's leaving at 3 p.m. I know that we'll start boarding at 2:30 p.m. I will get to the airport at the latest at 1:30 p.m. So that gives me an hour between 1:30 and when boarding starts. So boarding will start a half hour, typically sometimes 40 minutes before your scheduled departure time. So I normally give myself an hour at the airport, just because that's going to be walking to security, going through security. I, knock on wood, the longest I've ever waited in security at the Atlanta airport was 20 minutes. I also normally, if you want to stop and kind of mosey and like get your coffee, get some things, I still had 20 minutes to take the train, walk to where my departure gate was, and then I also had time to get tea that longest time. Normally I would say it averages about 20 minutes, so I normally have about 40 minutes to walk around and get settled, but I don't love hanging out at the airport. I think it's great people watching, but I just have spent enough time in airports that I don't need to, and I know the Atlanta airport, so if you're going to an airport that you don't know, and specifically if you're going to the Orlando airport and you're checking any kind of bag, there are normally a lot of children there. There's normally a lot of luggage, and there's normally quite a few wheelchairs. So I would say, especially the Orlando airport, give yourself some extra time. But if it's an airport that you know and love, the Grand Rapids airport is a similar vibe for me. But making sure that you are timing out what you're comfortable with. And for me, in this hypothetical flight scenario of 3 p.m., making sure that I'm getting on the MARTA train and I'm looking at their schedule, knowing that I will be able to get there at 1:30 at the latest. I usually add 10 minutes just because sometimes with trains, they will stop if there's another train on the tracks, or if there's like a little bit of construction or there's a backup. So I usually add a little bit of buffer room, so I normally end up getting there a little bit early, but I have had situations where you're sitting on the train and it's just stuck on the tracks and you're like, at what point do I hop out and get into an Uber to get to the airport? I've never missed a flight. But yeah, if you have any questions about traveling or airports, I've been to a lot of them. Happy to help. Hopefully you're not traveling via flight right now, but in normal times, please feel free to reach out. So yeah, just making sure that you're looking at when you have to leave, what your transportation looks like. There's nothing worse than flying early on a Sunday morning and all of a sudden you realize that MARTA doesn't start running until 9 a.m. and your flight is at 9:15. So making sure that you know the schedule and the transportation and maybe where you're gonna stop, especially if you're traveling cross country, or how long your car can go with gas. For us traveling through the mountains, making sure that we're gassed up before going through those mountains because there aren't a ton of gas stations there. So that is really the full outline of beginning to end how I prepared to travel. We're really gonna get down to business tomorrow, starting that preparation and then leaving Sunday morning. So this is my last live for until not this coming Monday, but the following Monday. So if you are watching live, I really appreciate you. And I will still be producing content for next week and posting to social and staying connected. I might do a couple impromptu lives or some impromptu content, but I will not be going live at my regularly scheduled programming hour of 10:30 Eastern. That will return. And yeah, I hope that y'all have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful week. And until next time, enjoy celebrating today.